I've wondered about this because I've said this about psychedelics, and how much more so would you say it about yoga? The argument that I've made about psychedelics is that the rabbis have a responsibility to talk about it. The reason is because it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's happening at a large scale. So even more so, yoga. It's happening at a very, very large scale, and many Jews are involved in the practice. So one way or another, say, meaning write a letter for or against, just say.
Yeah.
Like,
we can't avoid the reality, as you say.
Right.
It's a reality. The only thing, the perfect response would be not to discourage, but to encourage doing things in a kosher way.
which is that was my takeaway from the Rebbe.
Yeah. That I believe that is the Rebbe's takeaway, because at the time, not only did he talk about yoga, but he spoke about transcendental meditation, which is a much deeper level to breathing and to meditation. And
you teach meditation as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's part of the practice. I mean, sometimes in stillness, but a lot of times in the movement of the Hebrew letters, there's meditation.
Got it. Okay, I don't want to take you off the point you're saying about the
Rebbe. But I think the Rebbe was very open-minded about the many of the holistic forms. He didn't say it wasn't kosher because it came from India or it came from Asia. That wasn't the Rebbe's style to say it's just not kosher. He would pick and choose and say, this is okay, this is fine, and this you need to change. And if you can do that, then you can have something that can work and give it to Jewish people who are searching for this.
Is there a specific example that the Rebbe gave of something, maybe in transcendental meditation or in yoga, that this is not okay, this is okay?
What I did see in one of the Rebbe's letters is that he was saying that when it came to the practice of yoga and meditation, he says there's a lot of rituals that are being added that are not necessary for the healing aspect of what you're doing. The rituals. So ritual is defined as something that doesn't really have a purpose, except for maybe beautifying or enhancing something that you're about to do, like a ritual. Okay, so the Rebbe is like, there is no purpose for the ritual. The ritual is religious. Remove that and keep it focused on meditation, breathing, and movement. Focus on that. That's the focus.
When you talk about, let's say, yoga, and the Rebbe is saying, okay, so anything that's part of the practice, right? Meaning getting into a certain pose and breathing in a certain way.
Yeah.
There's a difference physically, whether you do the pose or don't do the pose,
right.
Whether you breathe or don't breathe, so do that. But maybe these other things where we may start the class with humming, maybe we can remove that.
Yeah, well, yes and no. There was actually, the Rebbe had a...
So that's what I'm asking.
So the Rebbe, I saw in one of the letters, the Rebbe was in touch with a psychotherapist named Yehuda Landis, if you've heard of him. He was also heavily in TM, Baal Tshuva. Before he became religious, he was heavily in TM, and he was one of the few people that the Rebbe was corresponding with to initiate this project of beginning the kosherizing of alternate methods of healing. Okay, and he had a business plan, and in the business plan that he shared with the Rebbe, and by the way, the Rebbe invested in the project. He says it in the letter, I think something like $10,000 or something like that. And in the business plan, there was chanting, there was hot mikvahs, so you have cold bath, they had hot mikvahs, they had movement, meditation, and peer discussions, like the House of Moore, like everything you're doing. So it already happened, and the Rebbe saw this with his eyes, and he blessed that type of program.
The chanting.
Nigunim.
Right.
He called it
Yes.
chanting nigunim.
Right.
Yeah.
So my question about that is, when it comes to a lot of these facilities you walk into are burning different kind of, whether it's sage or Palo Santo or other stuff.
Yeah.
If you ask them, it does something physically, right? There's a change. Yeah. So I was wondering from that perspective, where incense falls on that line, where burning incense or burning fragrances falls on that line of it doing something or not doing something.
Yeah. So, again, the incense is, in the temple they had the ketoret. They used to burn incense all the time. every day was the incense offering. In fact, if I may share with you, is that when Nadav in Avihu, we just read last week in the Torah, the biblical story of incense, and when they went in, they brought a foreign incense offering, and Eshazar was burning incense, and that's how they that's when they went in and they never came back. There's no issue in breathing the incense if it relaxes your body or relaxes you, and that's the purpose of it. Again, are we burning the incense because we're trying to awaken an outer force or connect to something outside of us that may be questionable in Judaism? It always comes down to the intention. Me personally, I always burn incense in my yoga, not when we're practicing, but after a yoga class, and it brings a good smell. Between the schwitz and the incense, it's nice, it's peaceful. I think sage is fantastic. I love sage. I love incense. But again, it's what is the purpose of doing it? If the purpose is what we just said, it's perfect.